Hi!
Hey, this is Lindy and Julie in Florida,
We're in Florida.
and we're going to do a video chat with you guys and answer questions that you wrote down for us, and we'll also pick some winners of an ebook from Julie because she has one book, and then you only get one choice.
Sorry.
And then
Sorry.
one of my ebooks. So, do you want to read the first one?
Okay. The first one comes in from D.S. Stoddard. Stoddard.
Yes.
Sorry. I can read. Which book and which character in that book is your favorite and why? I'm not sure if this applies to like book that we've written or like
I think so.
book that we've read.
Sure. Do yours. So, like, who's your
Like
favorite
from-
character?
Oh, well, that's kind of. I guess I don't know.
Dominic?
I think maybe Dominic is my favorite.
Don't let me
the
sway your answer.
book. I don't know. I like Dominic, but I also like Tony. Like Tony cracks me up because Tony is a ball buster and she tells it how it is, and she's kind of based off a real life person. So I pretty much love her. But yeah, if I'm having to choose from like a book I've read, it's Dating Husbands actually by Lindy. And my favorite character is Bianca because Bianca is like rock sauce. So that's my answer. I don't know what Lindy's is.
That's actually what I was going to say. From a book that I've written, I was going to say...
He doesn't specify.
Yeah, okay, so character-wise, it would be Bianca because I think she's funny, but that's because she's kind of like me. And
she is you.
But if I have to say which book is my favorite... I'll just say Dating Husbands too, because I'm not really sure on that one.
Take Care Sarah's awesome too.
Yeah, but that's like sad. At least Dating Husbands is like funny, and I like funny stuff. So we'll go with Dating Husbands.
Okay.
Next one.
Next one.
Do you want me to read it, or you want to read it?
I'll read it and you can answer first.
All right.
Just in case you can't read my handwriting that's on crack today. Do you journal while beginning and during the writing of an ebook? Of a book. Work from an outline or just write and work out the kinks later? And that's from Lori Garside.
Yeah.
So,
I'm answering.
Yeah, you're answering first.
Okay. I wasn't listening, so I have to like read it again. Okay. Let's just say I have like what I want the book to start like, and then I know like I keep saying like, and then I know a couple things I want to happen in the book, and obviously I know how I want the book to end, but the rest of it I just kind of write as I go for the most part and see where it takes me.
I kind of do that.
Yeah.
But I also like, if I know, like if a situation happens, I'll kind of like write it out. Like it's going to start with this, then this is going to happen, and it's going to end like this. And I'll like actually like write it out like that, so then I won't get lost. But that, kind of yes and kind of no, I guess, because it's kind of what it is.
Yeah, it's whatever happened. Either or.
Yeah.
This one's for Julie.
Francis Baker asked, what inspires your sex scenes?
Sex.
Booze and sex, I guess. Yeah, like that's pretty much all I can really say about that. I'll even do like the raise his eyebrows thing, like not quite sure.
Wait, like we were talking about this,
Yeah.
and I was gonna say, well, like my grandma. I hope she's not watching this because, like, I kind of think of people like that. Like, I'm vague and non-descriptive, kind of with my scenes because I think of people that are reading them. And
Like your grandma
yes,
reading it.
right? So I don't want to be all.
I think you might have you probably should have started prefacing that like that you're thinking about your grandma reading it and not that you're thinking,
no one would
not
read
that
my
you're-
books then if they
No,
wrote that
no,
or read
like-
that first.
Like if you said that your grandma inspired you, but it's really the thought of your grandma like reading your book
Yeah, I'd have
that
to make
inspires
sure-
you, not your grandma actually inspiring your
Yeah,
sex scenes.
I would have to make
maybe.
sure I like worded that right, or it'd be like not good.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
This one's
Okay.
got to be for you.
Mary Lowry,
Lowry.
like
Lowry?
the marinade, right? That's marinade, isn't it?
Oh, Lowry's?
Yeah.
That's
Or
kind of yummy.
seasoning salt or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway.
She has 2 questions.
Okay. Mary, as an author, is it hard to switch genres, and is there one you prefer over others that you've written? Not for me personally, because I like being able to have that diversity and being able to go from like real life to fantasy to science fiction to funny to sad. I like being able to do all that. It makes it interesting so I don't get bored.
I agree. I don't think as like a writer that it's hard to switch, because you don't start out a book that's going to be like, I don't know, a sad book and try to write it, funny because that's what you do. Like, you start out writing it knowing that it's going to be sad and
Right.
going through it that way.
Yeah, you have in your head how you're going to
write it. So it like sets the whole tone the whole time you're writing that book.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. So you've already preset the tone before you start writing whatever you're writing. Like, you already know that it's going to be how it is.
Although some people, though, they only write like one genre, so maybe for them they can't write. I don't know, maybe that would be hard for them to write other genres, but me personally it isn't, and I don't know about other writers, because other writers write in different genres.
See, I don't know if that they write like one specific genre because that's what they like, or if that's what they can write.
Yeah,
I
or
don't
they
know
think that's what they can write. Yeah.
And don't try the other way.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mary, you also had a second one. Since you're hanging out together, is there a chance you may be writing a book together? I wish. Can I raise my hand and volunteer? Because to be in a book with Lindy would be probably pretty awesome. Because I was fan before I was friend.
But we wouldn't actually be in the book.
No. Oh, no. Wait, what? Writing a book about us?
You said if we... I don't know what you said. Something about us being in a book, maybe.
No.
I don't know. But you never know. That could happen.
I mean, it'd be cool. It would probably have something to do with, like, a shark biting a steak out of
Oh, yeah. A shrimp. Did you say steak?
No, the stick. Like,
the stick,
it was like the stick, and it...
I fed a shark today, FYI, and it was really scary. There's pictures on Facebook if you want to check them out.
And she totally, like, spazzed because it, like, bit the stick out of her hand.
It wasn't cool, and the stick went flying across the room.
Oh, it was quite funny.
Everyone laughed, except for me. Okay. Moving on.
Okay.
The Angel. How do you come up with storylines and characters? Like, anything can make me want to write. I don't know, like, if even, like, this weekend, Juli will mention something, and I'm like, oh, that would be a cool book. Like, pretty much anything.
Well, I think, like, I don't know. I think that technically this should probably be, like, 2 different questions, because coming up with a storyline is completely different than coming up with a character. Because you generally have your storyline first.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then the characters just kind of, like, throw themselves into the book pretty much.
Yeah, and they kind of, it's weird, but when you're writing, it's kind of like someone else is telling you how they're going to be, or they're telling you. They
manifest themselves, like they just appear,
and then you just know like what they're gonna say and how they're gonna act and what they would do and what they wouldn't do, and it's like they become this person in your head.
Like sometimes they're not even like who you intend them to be,
right?
And then you're like, well, crap, okay, and then you kind of just gotta go with it, I guess. And it's funny because we were actually talking about this today. People watching. We all kind of like people watch. I don't know if all authors do this or if this is just a me and Lindy are weird thing, but we like to like people watch, and we study like their expressions and kind of how they interact with people, and
you can
all that.
Yeah, like you can tell a lot from a person just by watching them for a while. You can figure out a lot of stuff, like how their mood and their personality even, and how things affect them, and it's interesting to me.
I agree. So kind of like 2 separate, questions. Storylines are like we talked about before. That
was my phone. Yeah.
The storylines are kind of like, I mean, I don't know where those kind of come from. Like you just kind of get an idea and it grows.
Yeah. Or like even like a song, like lyrics in a song, like say something.
Say something.
Yeah. You could like totally get
that could be a book.
Like a book idea from some lyrics in a song, and you just go from there, and it develops in your head, and then you have a story.
Or like like someone's telling you like an experience of their life or what happened.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. And you could totally write a book on the whole like preface of that one experience.
Yeah, and it could even be like a paragraph, and you could have like a book idea.
A book idea. Like it could be like literally a 2-minute conversation, and you have a whole book.
Yeah, I just said a book idea in your head, I think.
Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
The next question is from Trisha Lukasic Hudson.
Maybe.
Lukasic. Okay, Trisha L. Hudson. We're gonna go with that. What made you want to write? Lindy, what made you want to write?
I don't know. I just started writing because I guess I needed to. I don't really know. I started writing when I was like around the age of 12, and like I wrote poems and short stories, and that's how I dealt with being a 12-year-old. I don't know. I just like to write.
See, and I have marked here that this was asked like multiple times, like it's a repeat question.
Right. Like a lot of people ask that.
I don't know if it was that something made me want to write. I think for me it was more like I had to, whatever was going on in my head, I had to write it down or it wouldn't leave me alone.
Right. It was like
kind of
therapy, kind of.
Yeah, it was like once I got a piece of paper and a pen, because this was before we all had like laptops and tablets. Like it was as soon as I grabbed it and I put it down, it would get out of my head and I could stop thinking about it and I could move on from whatever was going on in my head.
It's cathartic, therapeutic.
And I think it's still like that. Like I'll have I'll have like a scene and I'll literally be thinking about it for like a week. And I'll end up having to just find, it might not even be to whatever I'm working on. I'll just have to write it down and then it'll leave me alone.
Yeah.
Or build on it or do something with it just so it goes away.
Or if like something makes me mad, I'll like write that into a scene in my book and then I'll feel better.
Yeah, I agree. Like you're
like
like
when I kill people off, it's because I'm mad at my husband. Just kidding.
Are you still killing off my old boss?
Can you say that? Like, what if they read it? Yeah, she's dead.
She's dead?
Yeah.
Cool.
I did that for you.
Anyway.
I killed someone.
That was lethargic for me that Lindy did for me as a gift, so we're going to
That's an Unremarkable, which is coming out
What, the 22nd?
Soon. Yes.
22nd.
So
you
her
have
boss
to buy
gets killed in Unremarkable if you want to check that out.
Well, my old boss, not
Her
my new
old
boss.
boss.
Old boss, not new boss. Old
I
boss.
met her new boss. No, he wasn't your boss.
Well, he's not my boss. He's my doctor.
Yeah, he's nice.
The doctor I work for.
Yes.
Anyway.
All right. This is for you because this is from Shane, who lives in the same town as me in Wisconsin. But I've never met him. No.
Okay.
And he's asked me this question before about crossover characters. So I'm going to have Juli answer it because I already answered it.
When we wrote these questions down, I had to have Lindy kind of explain this one to me, like in what kind of context. Like if I was going to take a character from A Little Broken and write a book about her, and then like Jessie, my main character, would be in it. But apparently that's not what she meant.
I'm not sure.
Or what he meant, my bad. But I meant that's not what Lindy meant when she told me, which was what.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, moving on.
Like if Jessie were in some other book that no other character from her book is in.
Okay, like
she just made a random appearance, I think.
I'm working on an anthology piece. I was invited to work on this anthology piece, and it's got a completely different storyline. It's set in a completely different location, brand new characters, brand new everything, completely different than A Little Broken. So basically what I put like Jessie as a cameo in it, like she's at the Five and Dime or something going shopping. No, I probably wouldn't, because there would be no, I feel like as an author, I would have to try to really validate why she was there.
Yeah, right.
Because
she couldn't just make a random
like, I mean, she couldn't randomly be like miles and miles away from home, like completely out of her element and somewhere else. I guess maybe if I was writing a book that took place in the same town.
Yeah, maybe that's what
I guess maybe I could do it.
Yeah, that you could do.
Like if I wrote, because A Little Broken,
the same area.
Yeah, like A Little Broken set in like Tampa. So I guess maybe if I was writing one they were set in like Orlando, I could maybe do like, you know, Jessie showed up at downtown Disney like we went yesterday.
You could do that.
But I probably still wouldn't.
Yeah, because like I don't know if I ever
related. That'd be like throwing Sarah into dating husbands. It would just be weird. It
people,
wouldn't fit.
I mean, authors do it, of course. I read books like that, but I don't know if I would. Maybe. You never know.
Yeah. So that's my answer, Shane. I don't know if that is helpful, but that's me. Anyway.
JB Lippo?
Lippo. Right.
How long have you known you wanted to write, and what did you first write? I want to hear this because I always answer this like a lot, and I've never heard
Well, I
your
can't.
answer to
We're
this.
back to like the wanting to write.
Right.
Not that, but what I first wrote.
Yeah, like what's the first thing you really remember writing? Like what was it and what was it about?
Honestly, the first things I used to write were song lyrics. So I guess like
That's
kind of.
true.
I guess
do that
kind of like poetry. I guess maybe, but it
Mhm.
was like song lyrics because I was really really into music at the time, and that was sort of my outlet. Um, I still wrote like a lot of short stories. Like God bless my mom. My mom probably still has all of my little diaries. And I don't remember if you know the diaries I'm talking about, but they had like the little dials on it where it like spelled like diary and you had to like crank them to open little silly locky diaries with a princess on it.
I never had one of those.
Oh,
That wasn't cool. Like
well, I had those, a lot of them, and God bless her because there's probably like 1,009 different short stories of randomness, but mostly they were song lyrics, and it was generally about like I guess like moving and finding life, I guess maybe to like escape whatever was plaguing me as a little person because life was hard in junior high, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I first wrote. I don't know what you first wrote, but
Actually, I always say short poems and no. Short stories.
Sure.
Like that doesn't sound right. Short stories and poems, but actually I think I was writing song lyrics like before that and I forgot about that. But like the first short story I wrote, I remember this. It was about vampires.
Vampires?
It was terrible.
Vampires was bad.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Were they good vampires or bad vampires?
I don't remember. I just remember it's like
Oh.
a beach and there were vampires and that's kind of all I remember. And then like teenagers going on a ski trip and then there's like a murder, that kind of stuff. That's like
Oh, you did like murder mystery?
Yeah, I started but I was like
That's
12.
weird.
They were awful. Yeah. And then of course my poems.
You should try doing a new one and having it be like
Like
Clue.
a murder mystery.
Yeah.
That might be fun. I might do that.
I'm gonna do this one really quick because I thought
Okay.
this was a good one. This one was anonymous, so anonymous person. I don't know who you are, but if it is you who asked this question, let me know.
Contact us.
Yeah, contact us because I really liked your question. So this anonymous person wrote, I have always wanted to write books and I have great ideas. I just can't seem to put them down on paper. What kind of process do you have to help? You want to answer that first? Or are you not paying attention again? Do you need to write
No.
Do you need to read it while I answer it?
I was hang on, let me just scan it quick. Skim it over.
It's been a long day in Greektown with the
Yeah.
sun, and she's used to snow. So
Right. I don't know. I mean, if you always wanted to write and have great ideas, I don't know why you're not writing them down. You should just write them down. I've never had a problem with not being able to write, so I don't, like, if I ever do get stumped, it's because something's not right with the story or a character, so I have to, like, figure out what needs to be changed, and then I can write again. So I'm not sure how to.
see, I kind of agree, but I'm going to give you the almighty words of wisdom from the fantastic Lindy Zart, who is probably the only reason that I actually have a book published right now. Just do it. Like, seriously, I don't care if you're having a hard time writing it down on paper or you think it sucks or you think it doesn't make
Right.
sense. Write it down because you can always, like, just write it. Just keep going. Just keep going because then when you go back and read it, you're going to be able to fix it or change it.
Yeah,
Or
don't,
edit it.
Yeah, don't think about like mistakes or anything like that.
No.
Or if it, like she said, like if it's good or bad or whatever, you just write it. I always tell people that. I'm like, just write, and you'll figure it out.
And yeah, I mean, Lindy would always tell me that, and she just like, you
Yeah,
know,
she's like, I always want to write. I'm like, yeah, so
because I always said that like someday.
do it.
My big thing was I would say someday I'm going to, and Lindy, I remember a specific conversation where Lindy was like, why someday? Just do it now.
Yeah,
Just start it. I mean, if you had read like the first, I don't know, I guess 20 pages of my book before I like went back and like worked, like really truly worked on it to fix it, it wouldn't have made any sense to anybody, including myself, and I wrote it.
Yeah, I've had that too.
You know, just because, and it's not always easy. I know that we kind of make it sound, I guess, not easy, but
It's not easy.
it's not easy to put down your ideas on paper. The thing is it's not just having an idea. I can be like, hey, I want to write a book about vampires, and they don't sparkle in the sunlight. That's great. I have an idea. But there's more to it than that. You can't just be like, hey, this is a book about vampires that don't sparkle.
Yeah.
Because that's not a book.
Well, you have to know like basic English.
Right.
Obviously, you have to know how to spell fairly well and know grammatical stuff. And then you like, there's all these things you need to think about as you're writing. Like, I keep saying like again, dialogue. You want to make it interesting. You don't want to have boring dialogue. No one's gonna want to read that.
Hey, Lindy.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you? No, awesome's kind of funny though. You can't say
yeah,
awesome.
you can't say awesome.
I'm good. How
she
are
said.
You?
I'm good, she said. How are you?
Right.
I'm good, I said back.
Yes. No. The weather is nice. You don't want to do stuff like that.
But the thing is write it first. Like, write it that way. If that's how it's coming to your brain, write it.
And then go back and make it cooler.
Or utilize... There's great things in the writing world because you have... There's authors that are more than happy to... I don't want to say help you out because it's...
Well... Yeah,
well, it's not really like help. Like we'll guide questions. You. We'll help to guide you.
Yeah,
you know, like answer questions.
I always will. Anyone can ask me anything, and I will help.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not perfect. We don't know. I don't know everything, but
we're happy to give what advice we know or can give. And if we can't give you the right advice, we will find someone, or we will direct you to someone who can. Yes. You also have editors who are happy to help. Beta readers.
Yeah,
are also important.
Yeah, and I went to like a writer's website and looked at other people's work and put my work on there. It's called like Absolute Right is the one that I was on, and you share your work, and then strangers critique your work. And
that's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, some are kind of mean. Yeah, and some are just honest. And usually you go with the majority. Like if just one person says something, I wouldn't necessarily listen to them. I'd go with what the majority says. But like you have to understand, right? And it's always their opinion. You gotta remember that too. This is just one person's opinion. So
there are always going to be people who like what you do and hate what you do, regardless. I mean, you could have a New York Times bestseller, and there are still going to be people who absolutely hate it and people who love it.
Yeah, because I mean, with us, even like there's people I don't like. There's authors that are like amazingly rich. and whatnot. And
they come to Florida all the time on vacation to see other author friends.
Yeah, right.
And Lindy gets to come
Not
once.
me. Yeah. I think we went off on a tangent.
Anyway, sorry, that was a tangent.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you're having trouble writing down your ideas and putting them to paper where they make sense, just write them down anyway, and then go back over them later.
Or ask authors.
Or ask
other
help.
authors. Yeah. Ask people.
Have a sounding wall. That's a big one. Like I have an author friend that I'll be like, hey, I'm stuck. Like I know this is what just happened, and this is where I wanted to go in like 2 sentences. What did I do? And like we'll kind of talk back and forth a little bit, and then she doesn't even generally like tell me what to do. I just figure it out while I'm talking to her because having someone to talk it through helps.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, next one. So you're here.
Oh. Tony Michelle?
Yeah.
How do you come up with topics for your stories? Do you usually get help from family and or friends for topics?
Okay, well we answered the first half of that already.
Yeah, we kind of did. And as far as family and friends, no, not really. Not unless it's indirectly.
To what?
Do you usually get help from family and or friends for topics?
For topics. I kept reading that as 2 pics. I was like, pics? Like
pages.
Pictures?
No.
It's like,
topics. What? Sorry.
I
don't. Unless, like I said, it's indirectly and not on purpose.
I've asked. Like, I've asked my husband, who, I love you, but you're not the best husband. But I've asked him. I'll be like, hey, I'm thinking of writing this about this. Does that suck? And usually if he tells me that it does suck, that's when I write it.
Right.
Because what does he know?
Listen to your husband.
But no, I don't generally, like, get help. I generally have a good idea or a good topic that I'm thinking of before I start doing anything.
Do you know this is really long? Like 24 minutes?
Yeah, sorry about that.
We should hurry up. Okay. People are not going to want to listen
Kim
for 24 minutes.
Ginsburg, what do you do when the words won't flow? Yeah, this is kind of like similar.
Yeah.
Just write them anyway.
Yeah.
Or,
I like to listen
stop.
to music.
I can't listen to music.
Music helps inspire me, actually. Yeah, music.
I kind of like stop and put it away for like a day or 2. And then I'm generally like thinking about it the whole time. Like, and I'll dream about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're like writing and writing and writing, that's all you're thinking about. So when you go to sleep and you're dreaming, you dream about the same thing. Or I go back and edit what I already have.
Yeah,
Like, I'll go back.
Yep, I'll do that.
I'll
like
backtrack.
a reread. Yep.
And then by the time I get to the back, like back when I get down to the very bottom again, I'm like, oh, what do I have to do? Okay.
Nikki Flannery, who's your favorite author? Susan Elizabeth Phillips is mine.
Who's she?
She's awesome. I have like a lot of authors I like, but she's my favorite because her stories have depth, romance, and humor, which are all things that I love. You should look her up. You all should look her up.
I will. I like Laurel K. Hamilton, but that's because I have a love affair going on with Jean-Claude. He's my book boyfriend. Sorry, he's a vampire and he's hot. Anyway,
this one's kind of the same. What inspires you every time you need inspiration? By Sammy's Book Obsession and Heather Jingle Bells, Hunan
Kinky Gray. Yeah, inspiration. We've already talked about that.
Yeah. Music and whatnot.
Music and people and life events.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes other people's life events.
Yep.
Or our own. Or...
Careful what you tell us. It might go into a book.
Yeah. We need to like have people sign a release if they're going to talk to us. If you talk to us, there's a chance that something might go in a book. So don't give us like anything juicy.
You may end up in a book.
You may, and if you piss us off, you might be in a book.
That too, you might end up dead.
You might die, like my ex-boss, with a different name, and you probably won't look the same, but you'll still be dead either way.
You what it is.
But it will be.
We should move on. Okay.
Anyway,
and we were gonna pick
the winner.
Yeah.
Winner. The winner gets an ebook of mine.
Yep, A Little Broken, and then they can pick an ebook of mine.
Any book?
Any ebook of mine. Yep.
You might want to save that till the 22nd for Unremarkable.
If you've read Ordinary first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I have Ordinary.
And you were gonna pick. Julie's gonna pick the winner.
Okay, well, I'm going to throw out, like, an extra. Whoever wrote that anonymous one, shoot me a message, and you'll get a free e-copy of A Little Broken, too, because I really like your question. As for the grand prize winner... I don't like this. Why are you making me choose? How about... I like Mary Lowry's.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Mary Lowry.
You win.
You win. Win, win, win.
You're all winners.
So...
you're all winners. You're all winners.
You're all wieners.
We're drinking wine.
Wine.
Yeah.
Wine.
All right.
Wine.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.